Hello, everybody. Happy Thursday. It's a wonderful day in the neighborhood, and you know who I am. I am Enda Jean, the founder and owner of Enda's Boutique. Yes, I am. There it is, a Black-owned bookstore founded by an African-American sister, and it's all about the African American women. It's about women all over the world, really. That's what it is. But I am so very, very excited to come back to you on the weekend of Valentine's. That's right. So this is the weekend for Valentine's. So that means everyone, male, female, whoever you are, and you have a boo, make sure you take care of your boo. Equal opportunity to my sisters and my brothers. So it can't just be all on the brothers and the fellas. We need to make sure we do well and show love to everyone. That's so very, very, very important. Now, also, this is Black History Month. We recognize, of course, our bookstore is Black owned, so we do Black History 365 days. But we definitely take it up a notch in the month of February, where we really want to showcase people who have done incredible things in our community and people who are doing incredible things in our community, because Black history didn't just start back in the old days. As folks say, my young son says all the time, Black history is all the time. We are always making history. So speaking of history, I have an amazing, beautiful, wonderful, I don't want to say young lady, because when I was her age, I used to hate that term, young lady, but a wonderful lady who is doing some amazing things in the art community. And if you were with me at the end of January, you heard me do a wonderful, amazing interview with a person who does Black art collection and just coached us and taught us the importance of that. So I just thought it was befitting to continue down that pathway to talk about the arts. I am a love of arts as a musician. I love art as a collection, and art and literature and books, they all work hand in hand. So this beautiful brown sister, her name is Amber Barbee Pickens, and we have history in a sense that I love her mom. I know her mom. We all grew up in church together, her mom and I. So I'm going to give a shout out to Windsor. So I've got to do that to your mom, Amber. Can we give her a shout out?
Yes.
Yes. Hi,
So
Windsor.
excited. She's really
Yes,
excited.
she's an amazing marketing, promoting any type of hat that you need to get the job done. That's Windsor Barbie. And so give a shout out to her. So when Amber reached out to me, I said, I know that name. Let me do research real quick. And so when I looked it up, I was like, oh my God, yeah. So whatever you need, it's a done deal. My dad was our youth pastor, her mom and I, youth pastor. We grew up in church together. And so Windsor has done an amazing job raising a beautiful, an amazing daughter. And so incognito, I've been watching you grow up. So, and uh, as a as a performing artist, and she's so is it called, do we call you a dancer? I don't know the proper terminology. I want to be
I
correct.
call myself an artist because I do so many
Yeah,
things
this
that
is
like
right.
itself. So dancing, singing, acting, but dance is dance has been the meat of it. So for
Yes,
people that so people
right.
can have clarity, I say dancer, but really artist because like now we're
Okay.
talking about coloring book. So
Exactly, exactly. So before we get into the book, which we have in my backdrop, and I have it here as well, I want to just give everybody a little bit of history of who you are, because you were born and raised in Dallas, Texas, and now you're in New York. You went to college in New York. So I'm gonna let you tell your business and let people know who Amber is.
well, like you said, thank you for the introduction. I was trying not to cry because this is like so full circle, and it's just
Yes,
it truly is amazing to be featured by a Black woman, a Black-owned store. Like this is really special to me because when I was creating Blooming in Motion, this was my goals for it. So this is a really special day for me. So thank you so much, Miss B, for having me. Like I was
yes,
like,
ma'am.
oh wow, this is like wow, such a blessing. But yeah, I'm from Dallas, Texas, raised in Oak Cliff. Went to went to St. Philip's with Dr. Flowers in South Dallas. I went to W.E. Griner to get some of the arts that Dallas had to offer. Then went to the famous Booker T. Washington, the first Black high school in Dallas that
Right.
became the first school that so many amazing people graduated from. And then when I was at Booker T, I started, well, before Booker T, I started going to Debbie Allen camp because Debbie Allen would come to Dallas every year and we would drive to TCU every summer. That's where they would have the classes. And that's when I was just exposed to so much. She showed me, Miss Allen showed me how dance could open doors for us in so many different ways.
Wow.
And so at
Yes.
that moment in fourth grade, I was like, wow, like dance can do this. So this will be the art form that I really focus on. And then in high school, mom took me to Alvin Ailey camp, to Camp Broadway every summer, to like Tasha Smith's boot camp for actors, just really trying to expose me to as much as possible so my mind could just keep going and going and going and know there's like no limits. And so when I found out about Juilliard via Save the Last Dance, I was like, well, that's the school I want to go to. And
Right.
then I kept
Right.
learning about just different people from Dallas that had gone there, and especially like a lot of Black dancers that really made an impact on my life. Oh my gosh, my dog wants to be a part of the interview. Okay, everybody, this is Broadway. He
Oh, hi,
said
Broadway.
I want to be a part of the interview
I know
too.
that's right.
And so mom just would take me to all these different camps and intensives and introduce me to different people. And it just really inspired me to work hard to get into Juilliard. So getting into Juilliard was important to me because I wanted to have the best education to eventually be able to give back resources to children and youth in Dallas. Like that's always been my goal. And that just clicked for me at an early age because of people like Miss Debbie Allen that's always giving back. And I was just like, wow. So it's like not just about like being in the lights and me. It's a bigger picture there. You know, it's
Right.
all about building the community. And I'm so happy that I was exposed to that at such an early age instead of learning later on. Because I feel
Exactly.
like a lot of people get it, but it's too late. Like they missed all these opportunities they had to give back. So I just feel so blessed to have been surrounded and still surrounded. I mean, even me talking to you right now, just surrounded by so many strong, powerful women that have just like set the standard so high, and that whenever I get off track, get me right back on track and keep me like super grounded and always remind me that like who I am and that I'm more than enough. So after Juilliard, I did some Broadway, which I didn't think I would do until later on in life. I thought it would be like maybe a dance company or something, but God had other plans. So I've done Broadway with the amazing Cirque du Soleil and got exposed to gymnasts and acrobats from around the world. They were all so
Wow.
talented. And last year, right before the pandemic, I was even featured on Law and Order. So that was really cool too to like
Wow.
get in a room with Mariska walking in at a table read. So it's been such a good journey. And also I just made my choreographic debut for a feature film Passing. So that's
Wow.
really amazing too. And that was written by Nella Larson, like a Harlem Renaissance artist. So it's great to also be a part of projects that are just are like that are so inspirational and still pivotal today. Like that was her Passing was written in 1929 and it's still so important today in 2021. So I'm just really excited. And during the pandemic, I was trying to find ways to just stay positive and active. And I was like, what I kept asking myself, like, what do I really want to do? What do I want to speak on? And so that's when I started really focusing on a way to celebrate all the people that came before me and dance. And a lot of their stories haven't really been told. And so when I was creating Blooming Emotion, I was learning more about each one of these artists. And it just fueled me to just really like do more and stay focused and just like a reset and it just helped me get my goals aligned even more learning about them throughout this journey.
Right, right. You know, you have such so many different testimonials that you just shared, and one of the things that you talked about is just how the journey that you are experiencing, and I don't want to say have because you're still experiencing the journey and it's still unfolding for you, is that you're able to do so because of other people who have laid out a good pathway so that you can step down those roads, the yellow brick road, towards being this artist person that you are evolving to be. But not only that, Amber, you're creating your own journey as well. And that's what this book is all about, right? So not only have other people laid down the pathway, you've connected to some amazing people, but you too are becoming an amazing woman who is doing some amazing things. And so that's how we ended up getting together around the block. You know, God does not make any mistakes. He always order our steps. I believe that. And you just never know why he strategically places you in positions. So go figure. She reaches out to me via email and just talk a little bit about what made you decide to reach out to our bookstore to get your book into our bookstore. Why did you make that decision?
One of my biggest goals, like I know that we're, the goal is to, like, New York Times bestsellers and all this and all that. But one of my
Right.
biggest with Blooming in Motion was to be in independent Black owned stores, because although it's a Blooming in Motion and it's a celebration to all the people that came before me, it's also a love letter to my inner child. And so I want children, youth, and even adults to, first of all, I want us to celebrate all the Black owned bookstores in America so we can support our own communities and lift each other up. And also, I think it's so dope about, like, women, like your introduction when you said, like, women, like, coming together. I think that is so, 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 so important. And then also, just so when people walk in your store, like I said, like any age, they see my book and they go, wow, like I didn't know about Catherine Dunham, our Pearl Premise. And to me, it just makes so much sense. So this interview right here, it means so much to me. That phone call meant so much to me. You saying yes, and like even just inviting me to have an interview, like this is so special to me. These moments are more important than the Oscars when people talk about, because I'm like, this is for my journey. It's all about building the community. And
Right.
so this experience right here is what's truly, truly important. And it's just an example of how we make these connections, how we continue giving back and just putting the resources into our community. So whenever people are posting and like, where can I get it? I'm like, well, my Texas people, you can go right there to Enda's BOOKtique in Duncanville, Texas. You don't even have to order it. You could just drive over. And not only are you getting my book, but you're supporting this independently owned Black owned store by a Black woman.
That's
So I'm
right.
like, get into it, y'all. And I
Yeah.
get excited when it brings tears to my eyes when people are like saying, I'm gonna go over there, blah blah. Because I'm like, I'm building what I want to see, and it's exciting to not have to wait for people to do it for me, and like to put my freedom in somebody else's hands, with me like creating my own freedom, me grabbing my
Right.
freedom and telling my story and deciding, like, where my trajectory is, like under God, of course. But it just makes sense for me. It makes so much sense. Like,
Right. Yeah. So, and we have her book is of course at our bookstore, and it's available. Also, you could click a link to get it online delivered to you. But before we go and talk about how a person can get your book, let's talk a little bit about your book. Okay. So the first thing I would like to ask you is what inspired you to put together a coloring book? And this is, of course, you can see in my background, and I have another one here. But like you talked about different characters, different personalities, that you didn't just put a coloring book together, but it's a coloring book with purpose. That's what I want to talk about. It's a coloring book with purpose, and I love it, with purpose and a great message. So what made you decide to put an adult, well, it's a coloring book for everyone, let me just say that. But a lot of times adults are looking for a coloring book. So what made you decide to put a coloring book together, and a coloring book with such a strong and amazing messages in it?
well, thank you. I'm all about purpose in general. And so when it started off my freshman year at Juilliard, that summer, I didn't really know a lot of people. I was on a Graham camp, like the Graham Intensive during the day. And then I was just kind of like by myself. And so I was like, okay, well, let me just go to the library, because Juilliard is right across the Performing Arts Library, which is incredible. And I would just get lost in the library. They have all these old clippings, and a lot of the clippings are right here in this painting by Mr. Leroy Campbell. But so that's, I'm gonna like circle back to that, because that's like so crazy. But I was learning about people like Catherine Dunham and Pearl Premise and Arthur Mitchell and Nicholas Brothers, Alvin Ailey, more
Right.
about Miss Allen. And when I was hearing the stories, I was like, wow, like they're all just more than a dancer. Like they all were about purpose as well, and they all were about just building and giving back, like I said earlier. And so I wanted to find a way to just put them all together. Like I've always wanted to do some type of book. And I was like, wow, maybe a coloring book would be amazing. And especially right now, because there's so much, darkness and confusion going on in the world. I was like, coloring is like a de-stressor. It
Right.
enhances relaxation, peace, meditation. For people that aren't performative, it's like for the introverts, creatives, like we could just be at home in our space or wherever, on the subway, the train, the plane, and you could just get lost in the coloring journey. And it just enhances like positivity. And so I was like, I could just put all that together and then just create something that celebrates them and also just educates everybody else. So, and I've been drawing since I was a little girl as well. Like at one point, I thought I was gonna grow up to be an animator. So it also was like me like living
Right.
through that as well. Because I've always wanted to do something that had to do with like visual arts. So it was just me like putting everything together, performing arts, the visual arts, and just things that just increase peace in our life, because we just need that. Not
Right.
even now, we just need more of that in general. So I wanted to do that. I wanted to do that for everyone, and for, like I said, for my inner child as well.
Right. And I love the book, and you never know, now you might become an animator down the road, things
Like that
happen,
would
the
be
doors,
cool. That would be really
right? So you just never know. So I want to ask this question, being that you were born and raised in the South in Oak Cliff, Texas, though Oak Cliff is not an official city, we live in Oak Cliff.
cool.
And so now, of course, people hear Oak Cliff, oh my God, you live in Oak Cliff, like it's just,
I know. I know. I always crack up. I'm like, okay.
yes, there are good people in Oak Cliff. Hello,
Right,
somebody. Okay.
exactly. I'm the same
Like
way.
every section of a city has its wonderful, amazing things. And then, you just have to kind of watch yourself. But my question to you, Amber, is because you lived in the South, in Texas, you were born and raised here, and now you live up north. Um, you spoke about history, a lot of different things as relates to history and your connection to it now. What would you say will be the difference between up north and the South as relates to being connected to history, our history?
Hmm. That's so interesting because I feel like I've been asking myself that more as well. But
And
it's
that's just, so before you answer, I'm going to say I did not put this on her question thing. This, but it happened. You said something that triggered that thought, and
Mhm.
so that's why I'm asking you that question.
It's interesting because I definitely was exposed to history. Like my grandma was
Yes.
always big in history, and I would go to the African American Museum a lot of summers when I was a little girl and it was around Dr. Robinson. And definitely, they would take us to other museums in the city and expose us to so much. But I feel it's a different flavor up here.
Okay.
It's different in the water in Harlem. I will say that, like, I feel like I had to come through Harlem in my adulthood, my like yeah like come especially coming from Juilliard, but I was like I needed to realign myself at the Juilliard for sure, like really get it together, recenter completely. But it's different, and I think it's not like we're less proud, because we're proud in the South about who we are for sure, and especially now that I revisit as an adult, I'm like, wow, all this stuff was right here. I just maybe I didn't see it all because I was young, and then a lot of stuff that was exposed to me at a young age, it didn't click because I wasn't
Right.
like people were planting seeds, but
Right.
it yeah they were everybody was planting seeds. But now that I'm an adult, I come I I feel like it was important for me to come to New York, and especially because so many artists have come through Harlem specifically, so many Black artists, like we think about the Harlem Renaissance. So
Right.
come here made me appreciate who I am even more. And now when I go home, I went to the African American Museum last month to visit Dr. Robinson and tell him about Blooming Emotion. I was just sitting there talking to him for like an hour. And I told him, I was like, yeah, Dr. Robinson, I came here the other day. He was like, you were here the other day? I was like, yeah, I was walking around and I went through an exhibit that's been there forever, probably since I was a little girl, because you know how they have the exhibits that's always been there, that's about the
Right.
history of Dallas. And I found out, I always knew Booker T was the first Black high school, but I found out that whole community was like a black town, like
Up
Freeman.
and coming.
I
Right.
didn't know about that. I
Yes.
don't know why, but it's always been there. Like, but then I thought back to when I was at Juilliard. I interviewed my grandma's, one of my grandma's late friends, Sister Johnson. I did a project, and she talked about how she had a store in Freemantown, but it still didn't click for me at the time because that was around the time when I first had learned about the like Wall Street and Tulsa. So things were just clicking here and there. But
Right.
I was so focused on my career, like
Yes.
dance at the time. So it's almost like I had to, like, after graduation, realign myself. Harlem definitely helped me with like Langston Hughes' ashes being under Schomburg, and just everybody just so proud about who they are here. It's amazing. And then coming back to Dallas and realizing like, well, like all these seeds that people have been planting inside of me for years, and now it's they're all sprouting, and I feel even more grateful. So I don't even want to say there's a difference, because just like you said, like we're proud, like people that are from Oak Cliff is like Oak Cliff or like Triple D, and we're always throwing up our time. People are like, what is that? Triple D. But like we're proud, but I feel like leaving and coming back just made me appreciate the things that have been there. Like New York, I mean, Dallas doesn't get as much credit as New York, but it's all there in Dallas as well. We just need those resources. But it also shows me the importance of us coming back to where our villages, our tribes, our communities, and giving back. Because when you come to New York, a lot of people, we all moved to New York and LA. So that's why it seems like these things are just there, but they're in these other cities as well. And it's definitely in Dallas. So I wanted to be a part of everything that you all have done for me and so many like children and youth. I wanted to be able to do the same thing, because that's how we make our history known. We go beyond, the month, because people keep saying Black history is more than a month. I'm like, you're right, it is, but how do we change that? How do we really make it more than a month and celebrate it 365 days of the year? It's in our hands, like us sharing our messages, being proud about who we are, not anti anything else, but proud about who we are, and sharing our stories with everyone, and just really, I just think that the planting the seeds and putting the resources back in our communities is so important. So important.
Yeah, and I'm glad you shared that. I believe the mute button has been taken off as it relates to us being able to celebrate who we are. A lot of that could be contributed towards the pandemic, to the killing of Mr. Floyd and other killings. Just a lot of different incidents in 2020, like in other previous historical moments in the 1960s and the 1950s. The mute button was taken off. It was removed when Rosa Parks was on the bus and she refused to give up her seat and she was arrested. She took off the mute button and said, hey, I'm no longer going to be quiet about, that we are citizens. We have equal rights. We're going to talk about equality and racial injustice. So I think there are moments in time where the unrest happens in such a way that the mute button is, I don't even want to say taken off, is blown off. We blow it out the roof and we say, hey, we're going to scream and shout. We're Black and we're proud. And this is not just a February incident or celebratory moments. It is 365 days. So I think we get a chance we get reminded, periodically with major incidents, unfortunately, incidents that might have cost someone's life, or incidents that might have caused extreme levels of injustice, to remind the world that we live in, no, we don't need to be quiet. No, we don't need to be silent. And even to remind us, the next generation or the generations to come, you don't have to be silent. You don't have to live in fear, and you can be proud of who you are. And being proud of who you are is an anti other races and other people. So absolutely.
So
Thanks
much
for
stuff
sharing.
came out of that boycott. Like I love learning about how, because it was a little bit over a year, right? And just learning how so many people blossomed during that time. They came together, they stood for what they believed in, they came together, and they what do I want to say? Like they turned the leader within themselves that they didn't even know was there. Like I love learning all the legends that came out of that time, and like so many other times. And it's like you said, it's like we can't ask for our freedom and just keep, like, we have to grab our freedom and change up everything for ourselves. We can't just like sit back and wait. Like I don't sit back and wait. I don't want to do the code switch people talk about. I'm like, no. And people talk about burning bridges. I'm like, well, not every bridge we need to. Why do we want to cross over every bridge anyway? Like some bridges, maybe we do need to burn them. Because if they don't be your authentic self, then why would you want to work or build with that type of person anyway?
Exactly. Well, if you guys just joining us, I have artist Amber Barbee Pickens, who is with us. She's out of New York. She's in New York right now. She's from the Oak Cliff, Dallas, Texas, Fort Worth area. But she is currently residing in New York. She went to school at Juilliard. I watched the commercial. I remember you in a commercial. I think you were on a bus or something like that.
Yes, the Black people meet, and we were like on the subway.
Exactly, on the subway. I said the bus, the subway. And so I've been watching you blossom and just become an amazing woman through just the posts of your mother and other people who have had the privilege of meeting you. And so, of course, this is our first time really having this extensive conversation. We talked on the phone and everything, but just how things come into full circle. And I even want to encourage people, you just never know um, the pathways and and what you are setting up for, not just for yourself but for your children. But because of who your mom is, look at how that door was already, God planted that situation, that opportunity,
Yeah.
and being able to grow up. And we have a, a good relationship, a positive relationship, just because of who she was, and our relationship opened that door for you. And that's important for people to understand and know, is that not only are you living for yourself, but you just never know how the type of person you are can be a blessing or a block for your generation, for your legend, for the next generation. And so it's exciting for me to be able to talk to you. It's exciting for me to have your book and our bookstore. It's exciting to have such a wonderful project. And I love your book. I love, 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 love. And I've been talking about getting into coloring. So this will be my first official book that I haven't colored not one yet. I have coloring books in my bookstore, but this is the one that I'm going to do first. I'm going to actually videotape me coloring a book and being excited
Yes,
about it, right? So,
yes,
guys, listen.
I want
Okay,
to
everybody.
see.
I have way too many people who follow me on Facebook. I don't know if you all are my true Facebook friends. You have folks that just like you and be your friends, and I have no idea who they are. But if you are a fan and a friend of Enda Jean and Enda's Boutique and Windsor Barbie and everybody who went to Concord, let me pull out the Concordian. Listen, there is no excuse. Come
Mhm.
to my bookstore. It's on Main Street in Duncanville, Texas. If you don't feel like getting out, if you want a social distance, I even put in a link where you can have it delivered to you. It can be delivered via Uber. I am actually using Uber Corner Shop to deliver in our neighborhood, but also it can be delivered if you are in California. There's a link on my website as well, so people can purchase your book and have it shipped to them to wherever they are located. We wanted to give you mass support as much as we can, because one, I understand what it's like to be an independent something, like I'm an independent bookstore owner. So those waters that you tread and you step out there on faith. So let's talk about how people can follow you. Let's talk about your social media handle, your website, and how they can stay connected and see what Amber is up to.
So for Blooming Emotion, you go to bloomingemotion.com. The Instagram handle is Blooming Emotion. And for more about me, you go to amberpickens.com, and on Instagram it's Amber B Pickens.
Okay. Fantastic. So Blooming Motion actually has an Instagram. I need to make sure I tag that as well. I think I tagged you when we did the post, but we'll make sure we tag that as well. So
Yes,
again, from what
share all this.
you said, what did you say?
Can't wait to share like even more information about the bookstore as well. Like I'm so excited.
Yes. So in anything that you're doing, you please let us know. We have to do not kind of a good job, but an amazing job supporting each other. It
Yeah.
does two things. One, we support our own community with, and the people within our community. But two, when people support me, that holds me accountable to handle my business as well. So I tell
Mm,
people, when you support me, that's a reminder that I need to take care of my business, because I do not need someone to talk about my bookstore and I'm not handling my business.
yeah.
So, but I also tell people, be patient with all of us and allow us to be able to grow and to develop to become who we are. But we need to make sure this gets on the map. You can purchase this on our bookstore. You can go to the website. You can Google this. You can go to Instagram. She just gave you all of her information. But Amber, want you to do it one more time, just in case someone was slow, because sometimes I'm slow. So give everyone your information on how they can connect to you, contact you, and follow you and get a copy of your amazing coloring book.
Yay. Everyone, you can visit bloominginmotion.com.
Mhm.
Instagram handle is Blooming in Motion. And for more information on myself, you can visit amberpickens.com. My Instagram handle is Amber B Pickens.
Okay, fantastic. All right, everybody. Well, thank you so much for joining us on this wonderful day. And make sure that you do that. You show support. Okay, this needs to be one of the top
Yay.
to say that I support Black authors, right? Black History Month. Okay, but you don't have to just do it in this month. Share this with everyone, your family and your friends. And then guess what? You have daughters, okay?
Yes.
You have people who like to color, that like to get information. And this is just not an average coloring book. This is a coloring book that has information about our history. Okay, so they're not just randomly coloring. They are coloring and learning more about our history and people who have done some great things in our community. That's one of the things that I love about this coloring book, is that it's just not a simple coloring book. It is a coloring book that promotes other people. So it's not just about, Amber. She's doing a great job. Again, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate you doing this and following the journey that God has led you on. I can't wait to see you. So this is what you got to also do, and text me and let me know when you are doing some type of a cameo on a television show, a movie, or
Yes,
a
I
show.
will. I
Make
will.
sure make sure you let us know. We will definitely support you and celebrate you. We look forward to creating those moments so that when you get that big old Oscar or anything, the Emmys, they can kind of go through the timeline and show how you
Yes.
became from one person to the next and the next. So we are so proud of you. I'm so happy for you. I know that Dallas is excited about you. Anyone that knows you is just like high-fiving and praying for you, and so that you can continue to be a success. Thank you so much. We love you. Don't you go nowhere. You hold on one second.
You.
All right, everybody, go to the website. What's the website?
Yes.
www.endasboutique.com. That's endasboutique.com. We are located in Duncanville, Texas, 428 North Main Street. And so if you come by this weekend, now make sure if you come by this weekend, check to make sure, because if it's really, really bad weather, and if I don't have to drive in bad weather and have us open and put people in danger, I'm not going to do that. But we will be open for business. We do have her books in our bookstore. We also have a link so you can order your book and have it on reserve so that you can make sure you get your copy. And we want you to do that. Okay. Again, for more information, you can go to our website. It's www.endasboutique.com. That's endasboutique.com. We love you so much, you guys. Be safe, stay coronavirus free. And if
Okay.
you are driving, make sure you pay attention to yourself and everybody else who's on the road. God bless you. We love you. And we'll get back with you real soon.